call to the member for Higgins.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, what a difference a year makes, colleagues. When we came to government, renewable energy was sitting at 33%. It is now at 40% as we accelerate to 82% in a mere 75, 76 months from now. That is an absolutely massive task. And yes, while some coal mines may have been approved under the Environment Minister, let us not forget that it is the same Environment Minister who is the first one in Commonwealth history to have disallowed a coal mine due to its impacts on the Great Barrier Reef. That is something the crossbench love to forget. In addition to this, we are also the government that has 104, when I last checked, it might be higher now, when I last checked, 104 renewable projects in the pipeline. This has more than doubled, and it is sitting on the Environment Minister's desk for her to sign off. So we are well on the way when it comes to our energy transformation, and it can't happen a day too soon. Why? Because when we came to government, we inherited a mess. Not only were those opposite in economic vandals, they were also environmental vandals. We inherited an economy that had had its shock absorbers removed. We had a housing crisis. We've seen a collapse of bulk billing. Bulk billing, Medicare, what I devoted my life to supporting. We'd seen energy chaos, where those opposite had 22 energy policies. And what was their strike rate? Was it, 50%? No. 50% any takers? Perhaps it was 10%. No, it was 0%. Zero. They couldn't land a single energy policy. And it led to Australia being overexposed to fossil fuels. And of course, what then happened was the global. We had the pandemic, and we also had the Ukrainian war. The war in Ukraine, a black swan event, one none of us saw coming, which has left Australia a country with an unparalleled endowment of sunshine and wind and wave in an energy crisis. Australia, a fossil fuel giant facing an energy crisis. It's absurd. Why? Because those opposite, in their 10 years, failed to transition this country to renewable energy, something that we are now doing. When it comes to the environment, Deputy Speaker, we do need to change our mental models. For too long, we have considered the environment as a resource to be pillaged and plundered. And the problem is that when you worship at the temple of GDP, nature always comes off second best, always. So I actually believe this is a completely false dichotomy. Economics is not privileged above biodiversity. In fact, the two are intertwined. Why? Because our economy depends on biodiversity. Where do you think our food comes from? 70% of our food production is reliant on nature's pollinators, the bees, the bats, the birds. In addition to that, our economy is reliant on the stuff we dig up, for sure, including all those critical minerals that we will be needing for our net zero transition, but also on tourism, like the Great Barrier Reef. Yep. What we have seen, however, is not just environmental degradation, but environmental secrecy under those opposite. As you know, we inherited an environmental situation which was described in the State of the Environment report as Australia's environment is in a poor and deteriorating state. Damning. And that same report, which was released in 2021, was kept under wraps by those opposite. Shame. Because it was too damning to release. Too damning. And we have won the ignominious title as being the mammal extinction capital of the world.
Shame. That's your legacy.
That's right. Since colonisation, we have lost 100 endemic species. And that means that these are species only found in Australia, like the thylacine. Gone. We've got 19 ecosystems that are on the brink of collapse. Now, we are well aware of this as a government, and this is why we have adopted all the recommendations of the Samuel Review, and the work around reforming our EPBC Act is underway. The reason the Minister for the Environment is not in the chamber is because she's actually trying to fix the EPBC Act. She's essentially rewriting that entire Act, which has not been rewritten, not been reviewed in 30 years. So there's a lot of work to do, and we are getting on with it.